Job well done there. Welcome back. Chris Broussard's here now, joined by NBA champ Eddie House. Let's return to Dallas, where Mark Cuban's been scrambling today amid reports of sexual misconduct in the Mavs front office. That's not the only bad news he's had to deal with. He was fined $600,000 by the NBA today over public comments in which he admitted that his team has been tanking for the last year and a half. Whitlock, is that fair punishment?
I don't know, fair or unfair. I think it's significant. I think it's an indication. It's the first indication I see in a sign like, okay, the NBA is going to really maybe take on Mark Cuban here. He has been the NBA's nemesis for his entire ownership. He feuded with David Stern. And so I don't think it's a surprise, or I don't think they're disconnected, that on the day that he's in the news about his work environment, the NBA comes at him with a $600,000 fine. I'm hopeful that the NBA is about to take a real hard look at Mark Cuban and the way he conducts business in Dallas.
Well, the NBA has been progressive on gambling. How do you think gambling and tanking go? I mean, I'm sitting there, I'm thinking to myself, this is the league that's all in on this gambling movement. Tanking is what, like, Donaghy. I mean, so to me, you can talk about it. Mark, here, I'll throw this at you. Jerry Jones is the highest profile NFL owner in a more popular sport.
Yeah.
Is Cuban competing with him in Dallas for the headlines? Because he can't stop talking. Shark Tank.
But he's always been like that.
Yeah, but I mean, no, what I'm saying is Jerry Jones has always been there. So the Cowboys are here, the Mavericks are here, Jerry's here, Cuban's here. Like, couldn't Mark stop talking for a while? Like, he's become too high profile.
He can't help himself. You know, I told you guys yesterday, first of all, I think this is revisionist history. I don't think he's tanking. I think he said that because we're just bad. I mean, they gave Harrison Barnes $94 million over 4 years just a couple summers ago. That's not a tanking move. They just offered Nerlens Noel $70 million over 4 years. That's not a tanking move. So we're horrible. We've made bad decisions. So I'm going to say, yeah, we're tanking. He was trying to be smart about it, and I'm glad the NBA nailed him with a substantial fine.
But they got to get that money to somebody. You know, you have to pay somebody, so that's why you see Harrison Barnes get paid like that. Noel, he's trying to get that money. But I think this is where the problem lies. There's a lot of franchises that are trying to tank, and this is a great move by Adam Silver, not allowing teams to do it. If you talk about it, just like if you tamper, you see Magic get $50,000, you see the other $500,000 for the Lakers. If you talk about it out publicly, we're going to fine you for it. Now, if you're going to do it, just do it and make us speculate, yeah, maybe you're tanking. Just like, for example, I talked about earlier, Phoenix, they were tanking. They took Eric Bledsoe having his best season after coming off injury, said, hey, sit down so we could tank, lose games, so we could go get Markelle Fultz or Alonzo Ball to replace you. You know what I mean? So I'm glad that they did this, and it should stop organizations from at least coming out and being blatant with the tank.
I go back to Mark Cuban. Why would he say this? Like, yesterday, you were the one that was like, you don't say this public. I mean, it was obvious.
I like Chris's point that it's a deflection from we're not running our organization well. And if you know that Sports Illustrated is working on a story that's going to say not only are they screwing up things basketball-wise, they have a corrosive, perverted culture within their organization. This all seems like a deflection. And let's just remember who Mark Cuban has been for the 15, 16 years he's owned the Dallas Mavericks. He was supposed to be smarter than every other owner. The Mavericks were supposed to be more innovative and ahead of the curve. They were supposed to be the Golden State Warriors.
Yep.
They got one championship, and it's Dirk Nowitzki. And to me, the guy second most responsible for that is Rick Carlisle, who coached a hell of a series and is a hell of a basketball coach. But in terms of Mark Cuban revolutionizing the NBA, that's never happened.
Yeah.
They're in a situation where they've made a bunch of bad deals, as you suggest, Chris. It's not a well-run franchise.
It's interesting because Mark Cuban has, I think, garnered a reputation of being one of the better owners in the league. I've even said it myself. He's one of the best owners in the league. But when you really start to analyze the moves, he was fortunate Dirk Nowitzki was already there when he bought the team. He let Steve Nash go, which was a horrible move. He went to Phoenix, and the rest is history. Let him go as a free agent. When they did win it in 2011, he disbanded the team. He didn't even try to repeat. He wanted to prepare for the future. And now, since then, they've been a pretty bad ball club. Haven't been able to get anybody to play with Dirk that's on that level. So, yeah, I mean, his reputation has really been a lot better than he probably actually has.
There is a mythology with him. I mean, let's be honest. He sold Broadcast Net. He was a Facebook guy before Facebook. He was one of the first tech owners. And to your point, you know, the tech guys were like, oh, there's this new smart kid. He was almost a fan. He was the first fan who bought a team. And to your point, I think there was this wave. But I'm telling you, this is a bad look. This is a bad look.
As a player, that was one of the owners that you wanted to try to get on. You know, they had their own plane. They had PlayStations in their locker. So, and they had plenty of food.
They had PlayStation in the workplace.
Yeah. See, and that's unfortunate. It had nothing to do with the players, though. That's bad on his side.
Said the players were
way respectful. Yeah. And you look at, since he's owned the team, there's only been a handful of seasons that they really been relevant, or they really been right there with an opportunity. The year they won it, in them years with Steve Nash and Don Nelson there. Besides that, the Mavericks really haven't been anybody that you look at and say, oh, man, this is going to be tough when we come through the Texas Triangle. This is a team that we got to beat. You never have to worry about that. I think he's more of he's a flamboyant owner, and guys like players like to get behind a guy like that shows that he has your back. Now, all the stuff that's going on, he didn't have some bad last 24 hours, ain't he?
Oh, man.
Man.
And he may have had aspirations beyond this. You know, I mean, people were pushing him to run for president. Yeah. That's all over.
Sir. All right, coming up, want to hear the worst advice ever? Wait until you hear what a Hall of Famer told LeBron James. Next!